Cloud. Hello, everybody. We are here this morning on a beautiful Friday, August 14th, and we have one of our esteemed realtors, Justin Greenberg, who's going to be presenting a very cool, interesting kind of game changer in the real estate world. And I'm not going to take too much away from that. We've got a nice group attending and a bunch of people who said today they have all kinds of meetings, but they want to hear the recording. So since Kelly Fitzsimmons is one of our guests right now and she's wearing sequins, I'm going to unpin me and let Kelly pin herself and just say a quick hello.
Oh my goodness. Hello,
Kelly.
World. Hello, Powerhouse Smart.
Woo! Love your sequins and your red wall. Just
Friday morning, ready to party. Wow.
Okay, fabulous. Sounds great. So today we're going to do as always, a very short but powerful education session with Justin. I'm going over to him in just 1 second. He's going to share his screen. There might be people that are going to come on consistently. We'll try to save a little time for some end of education around 5 minutes to noon for quick Q&A. If we don't have time, we'll take any questions via go to the Powerhouse Smart website, look up Justin Greenberg, click on him, and he's happy to work with you and help you. Absolutely. So without further ado, Justin, I'd like to turn it over to you. So what you need to do, everybody, is pin Justin's video up in the right-hand corner. I've done that. And so Justin, put yourself, share with us. We're really excited to hear what your content is today and learn more about you.
Awesome. Let me just share my screen here. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So thank you everyone for coming today. I'm Justin Greenberg. I am a residential realtor in the North Shore of suburban Chicagoland. And today what I wanted to present to everyone is a really unique, Wendy kind of hinted towards it. It's a game changer in the real estate world. So I'm just going to jump right into the presentation and start talking about this partnership that we've created with a company called Curbio. So Curbio is a company that specializes in home sale renovations. So they're not a company that does additions. They're not a company that does remodeling for someone who's existing in their home. It's only for people who are looking to sell their home and are getting it ready to put on the market, but the house needs updating. So there's a couple of before and after pictures in this first page, but I'm just going to jump right in and start talking about it.
Perfect.
It's not moving. There we go. Okay. So what I've realized over the last several years, I've been a real estate broker for 13 and a half years now. And there's been a real shift in the market recently within the last few years as more and more millennials are getting into the marketplace. We've seen that millennials are really not open-minded when it comes to purchasing a home that needs any sort of work at all. And this has created a real problem in the marketplace because you have baby boomers who are putting their homes on the market in masses that haven't necessarily been updated in some cases 30 years. And you've got this millennial buyer pool that's coming in saying, oh my God, I hate that paint color. I can't buy this house. So what do you do? So that's where Curbio has really come into play to bridge a gap in that market segment. So here are a couple of things that we've noticed over the last several years. 71% of home buyers are afraid to buy a home that needs any amount of work. Now that's as simple as painting, replacing carpet, maybe refinishing floors. They're terrified to even take on those projects. 80% of home buyers are desiring a home that's already move-in ready, where they don't have to touch a thing. So with that being said, if you're putting your house on the market and it's not already renovated, it's not already freshly painted and ready to go, right off the bat, you've eliminated over 80% of the buyer pool. You've left yourself 29% of the home buyers who may be interested in your home, and that really creates a problem. The other issue that we've noticed, and this isn't necessarily an issue, but in the last year, in 2019, there were $14 billion in profits made by home flippers in the United States. So flippers go in, they buy a property at a significant discount. They put the renovations in, they spend the time and money out of their own pocket to do that, and then they go around and sell it for a profit. Well, if you have a huge gap in buyers that are not willing to do renovations, and you've got all these investors that are making billions of dollars investing, how do we help the home seller maximize their profit, especially if they don't have the money to do it? So that's where Curbio has really become a game changer in our marketplace, as well as several other marketplaces throughout the country. So Curbio is a company that will come in, they will renovate your home prior to listing it to maximize the value, and you pay nothing as a home seller upfront until the property closes. So Curbio is your partner in this investment to maximize your profit. So we talked about this already. 71% of the home buyers are afraid to do a project that needs any work. So that's why you need to renovate your home before you list it. The best way to maximize the value is to price a property properly, market it properly, but also have it in the right condition. So Curbio has become a great partner in that aspect. So understanding your options is really important as a seller. In the last several years, we've seen a huge surge in these iBuyers. So the Zillow, where they have an iBuyer program where they'll come in and they'll pay you cash for your home. A lot of other companies, Redfin has a similar model. A lot of other companies have come into the marketplace with this model where they will represent the buyer virtually. They'll give you a cash offer for your home sight unseen. The problem with this is when you sell to an investor or an iBuyer, generally you're receiving only about 70% of the actual market value because they're anticipating that the home needs a lot of work. It's a quick option. There's not a lot of time involved. And when you sell, there's really minimal effort. You don't even have to use a real estate broker to use one of these iBuyer programs. The second option you have is to list the property as is, but also with an as is sale price, you're taking a significant discount because the property needs work. And when you list as is, it puts up a bunch of red flags for potential buyers because they don't want to have to worry about what happens after they move in. And they're just concerned that with an as-is sale, there's more work than they can actually see walking through the home. So it becomes very complicated. The house generally sits on the market for a long time when it's as-is because there's so many red flags around as-is sales. So the next option would be if you have the money, you can contact a contractor. And let me just say up front with all of this, because I've talked to a lot of contractors about this program. And I want to tell you guys, because I know there's a lot of designers and contractors in this group, this is not meant to compete with you. If you are working with someone who is looking to stay in their home, or if I'm working with someone who's looking to stay in their home, or they're looking to do renovations on their home, I'm going to refer them to you. This program is meant to be quick, easy, and maximize profit when someone is selling their home. So it's great for an estate sale. It's great for someone who is a recent widow or widower and has, has a need to update the property before they put it on the market because they need the money out. So with contractors, as you guys know, sometimes the process can be long and drawn out. There's a lot of work estimates that go into it and change orders, and the picking of materials takes a long time. And there's a lot of curated things that need to go into making the project successful. Now you have your fourth option, which is what we're talking about today. So Curbio specializes in pre-sale renovations, meaning they're not coming in and saying this kitchen is great, but we need to completely gut it from top to bottom, replace the cabinets, flooring, appliances, everything. They're going to do the work that only maximizes the profit once it's done. Nothing is paid up front. Curbio is paid through the sale process. So they get paid at the end, and I can talk more in detail about that if someone has specific questions. And generally they're quick. They get the work done in about 4 to 8 weeks versus months. They already have a stockpile of materials and appliances, and they've gotten great deals on everything because they're buying at such high volume that it really makes it more affordable for them to be able to do this. So now that we know all the options that someone has when they're going to sell their house, let's talk about the actual process with Curbio. So, if someone comes to me and says, I'm looking to sell my house, I don't have a lot of money to do renovations, but I know that it needs updates. Or on the flip side of that, I go in and say, you know what, in order to get the price that you're looking to get on this home, you need to do certain renovations. Otherwise, you're never going to achieve those results. Curbio's formula is this. They will take the after renovated value, so the value that I come up with based on the market comps to say this is what the home would be worth after it's been renovated. They'll immediately take 20% off the top. So that's creating their initial budget for the property. It's also creating a buffer for the seller, because a lot of sellers are concerned, well, what if I can't sell the house for the value after I put all this money in with Curbio? What's going to happen? So creating that 20% buffer really helps to give that home seller a little bit of peace of mind that there is some room within that price to be able to do the renovations and still come out ahead. So then Curbio will subtract that 80% value. They'll subtract out the mortgage balance. So whatever is owed on the property, whether there's a first mortgage, second mortgage, home equity line that's been withdrawn, they'll subtract out that number, and that's how Curbio creates their maximum renovation budget. So in this example, the house after it was renovated would be worth $350,000. They take the 80% of that, 280,000, subtract out the mortgage balance, it's 150. So now the maximum budget available is 130,000. Now Curbio doesn't always use that maximum amount. It doesn't always make sense to do that. They do have a project minimum of 15,000. So there's not a whole lot you can do for 15,000, but sometimes all it takes is painting the house and it gets the job done, and the seller may not have that money liquid. So the value of the pre-home sale renovation is you get to maximize the list price and your proceeds. You attract more buyers because, as we were reviewed in the beginning, if you're listing the house as is or it needs updates, you've eliminated almost 80% of your buyer pool right off the bat. And then ultimately with the pre-sale renovation, you'll sell the home for more money. So it's a win-win for the sellers in this case. So how is Curbio different? There's a lot of competitors, a lot of the other companies that I compete against in Chicagoland have their concierge services, or they have their pre-sale services that they offer in-house. Here's where Curbio is really different with all of this. A lot of those companies do require an upfront payment. They will fund the cost of the renovations, but they require a down payment. The agent who is listing the property generally is working as the general contractor in that case. Now, I'm a real estate agent. I'm not a general contractor. I don't claim to be a general contractor. I don't want to be a general contractor. I want to focus on marketing properties and getting them sold for the maximum value. So with Curbio, we've partnered with them because they come in, they don't require any payment until settlement. They are only doing buyer-focused renovations, meaning things that are going to maximize and are going to have a return on the initial investment. And it's a convenient and turnkey process. It really takes the stress out of it for the seller because the seller isn't the one making design decisions. They're not picking materials. They're not going to a cabinet shop and looking at the cabinets. They're not picking paint colors. Curbio has designers that they work with in-house that study the market trends. And so they know what's selling and what's maximizing values in homes. And they have curated specific materials. In fact, they have put together pre-finished options, basically, that the seller can choose from in order to make sure that the process is seamless and they don't have to look at 50 different tile samples for a backsplash. They've got 2 or 3 that Curbio has pre-selected. The process is hassle-free. The materials are already curated in advance by Curbio. They have a huge warehouse where they're keeping all the materials for the different home sale renovations. The estimate process is fast and virtual. So what Curbio does is the initial estimate is actually partnered with the realtor who's representing the listing. I contact Curbio. I tell them that we have this property that we need to renovate before we put it on the market. Here's what I think the property would be worth after it's renovated, and here's what it's worth currently in the as-is state. These are the things that I think need to be done to the property, and then they will shoot back an initial estimate of that cost. From there, they'll send out a photographer that does a Matterport 3D virtual tour, and they will completely estimate the project virtually with a line item estimate. Now, here's one of the other areas where Curbio differs from a general contractor is their estimates are based on the scope of the work. They're not going to be doing change orders. Let's say they start taking down the existing backsplash and they realize that the drywall behind it is really badly damaged. or there, in some cases, there is no drywall behind it. They're not going to change the cost of that renovation. They've already factored that into their cost. So the scope of the work is that the backsplash will be taken down and replaced. No change orders involved in that at all. So that really helps to expedite the process as well. They don't have to do multiple change orders throughout the process. And there's a dedicated project manager who comes in and will be the on-site supervisor for the project. They're coordinating all the contractors to come in quickly. They have everything scheduled out so that the renovations can be done in a matter of weeks versus months, and they work around the homeowners. In fact, one of the big concerns that one of my clients had during COVID was they were an elderly couple, they were still living at home, and they were concerned about all these workers coming in and out of their house. Curbio actually paid to put them up in a property for 2 months while the property was being renovated, and didn't ask them to do anything other than move out and enjoy, you know, living their normal life without the concerns of COVID throughout their home. So they really partner with their homeowner clients to make sure that everything is stress-free, hassle-free, and easy for the seller. So what do they do? These are just a couple of before and after pictures of some of the projects that Curbio has done. So in a lot of these cases, you'll see that they really haven't changed a whole lot other than the cosmetic part of the property. They're not starting to take down walls. They're not doing a gut job. They're going to replace the flooring if need be. They're going to change the paint colors. They're just going to freshen up the property and make it look like it was completely renovated by the seller. So here are a couple of examples of projects that have been done. Now, these aren't local. I'm going to show you in the next slide a project that's actually closing today that I represented. But the first one on the left was a townhome in Washington, D.C. The as-is list price was $550,000. The total cost of the renovations was $91,000. The final sale price on this property was $790,000. That's a 263% return on the investment. And remember, with Curbio, the seller didn't pay anything up front to do these renovations. Curbio fronted the entire cost of the renovation. So you can see, you know, the kitchen was completely remodeled. They added cabinets, replaced all the appliances, changed out the flooring and did some painting. The bathroom was just really dated. All they really did in there, if you look closely at it, was they replaced the vanity, the toilet, the flooring, and painted the walls. Not a huge renovation. And then if you look at the one on the left, same thing. They kept the existing cabinets. They changed out a few features, replaced a cabinet with a drawer, replaced the countertops, changed the flooring, and painted. And now it's a totally new kitchen. And with this example, you had 168% return on the investment. So here's a real life example. So as I said before, this property actually is closing today. We listed it, was on the market for 43 days. The as-is price of this home we estimated was going to be right around probably just under $300,000. So it was a split level property in Arlington Heights, Illinois. If you look at the chart on the left here, you can see that the seller probably would have been bringing money to closing, approximately $3,000 to closing. They didn't have any money to be able to do the renovations themselves. This was really their only option. So after doing the job with Curbio, the total cost of the renovation was just over $46,000. The seller listed the property for $399,000. We ended up reducing the price. After a week of reducing it, we had 4 offers on the property and sold it for $387,500. The seller is walking away with $37,000 in profit. So they went from being upside down a few $1,000s to walking away with enough money to put a down payment on their next property.
That is awesome. They must love you, Justin.
They are my best friends right now. So, so now I'm going to show you guys just a couple of before and afters. So one of the nice things with Curbio is that we can do a full virtual walkthrough. So you can see the before and after. Can everyone still see my screen?
Yes, but we're still on that chart of the Arlington Heights project.
Okay, so let me go back and reshare.
We're almost frozen.
Okay.
There we go.
Now can you see it? Okay.
Yes.
So this was the house before. So you can see it was very dated. They had beadboard up on the walls. This is the lower level. The utility room was kind of a disaster. The bathroom was really dated, hadn't been updated since the 90s, had the tile walls, ugly flooring. And then you go upstairs and you had this broken, whoops, I don't know if you can see it, but you had this cracked tile. The hardwood floors were that ugly yellow color. You had carpet going up the stairs. It really was a house that had some great features as a split level, but it was just really dated. And you know, the paint colors were very dark and made the space look small. The kitchen was not very attractive. So now let me jump back and show you the after. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So now you can, whoop, you can
Love
see
that metaphor.
with a little bit of money from Curbio, they put hardwood floors in the kitchen. They kept the existing cabinets. They kept the existing countertops, put in a nice subway tile backsplash, changed the fixtures and the knobs, put in all new appliances, and it really gives the property a fresh look. We also virtually staged the house, but just changing the paint colors and the flooring. They modernized the staircase a little bit. So, and then I don't think I showed you guys the before of the bathroom upstairs, but the bathroom upstairs was an absolute disaster. It just, nothing looked good in there. It had cracked tile flooring from the 1960s. So they came in here, just reglazed all the tile. The tile before was yellow. So they just glazed all the tile white, reglazed the tub, painted the bathroom vanity, put some new fixtures in, changed out the flooring. Let me back up here. So now it looks like you've got this nice tile, marble tile look in here. And then let me go down to the basement. You can really see a drastic difference down there.
And Justin, you also said you staged it, but Curbio doesn't do the staging.
Yeah, so Curbio doesn't do the staging. We virtually staged this property. And I actually, usually I don't meet with the buyers when I'm representing the seller, but I met with the buyers for the final walkthrough last night, and they couldn't tell me enough how much they fell in love with this house the minute they walked in. And I started to show them some of the before pictures, and they were like, wow, this is amazing. So they were really happy. So you can see in the basement, they took off the beadboard, just painted and changed the lighting, made a huge difference down there. The utility room, they just put down an LVT floor, did some drywall work, and the utility room looks totally different, nice and fresh now, whereas before it was cluttered and disgusting. Sorry, I love Matterport, but it's a little clunky sometimes. And then in the bathroom down here, same thing. They just reglazed all the tile, kept the existing vanity. They changed out the countertop, put new flooring in here, changed out the lighting, changed out the trim work on the shower. And it looks like it's a completely renovated, fresh new bathroom that really appeals to the masses. So let me go back into the presentation.
So the staircase, I noticed they have to resand the stair and put in, I think that's a huge change.
So they put hardwood flooring throughout in a lot of places where there wasn't hardwood prior. But basically all they did was refinish the flooring, and
crazy. Yeah.
And it made a massive difference in this house. So, and the sellers never would have been able to achieve this. Can you see the presentation back, the PowerPoint?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So, you know, one of the reasons I get asked all the time is, why should I refer you to someone who's looking to sell their home? And the reason that I've been telling a lot of people lately is I have a lot of options. I have a lot of programs. And when I start to present Curbio to people, it really is eye-popping, and they love the fact that they have this as an option to maximize their profit quickly, easily, and they don't have to do anything other than move out and let the contractors come in and take care of the work. So I am a Curbio certified agent. I had to go through a whole certification class because the one thing that Curbio told us when they first came into the Chicagoland market is the realtor partner is critical in this. If you overprice a property and they go through and do the renovations, there's still a possibility for loss if it's not priced right. So they really want to make sure that everything is being done properly to maximize the results for the seller, because that's really who they care about and who we care about. So as a Curbio certified partner, I know their process. I have to go through different pricing criteria to make sure that they're comfortable with the investment, because they're investing a lot of money in this too. And if it doesn't sell, they're also taking a loss. So, so that's kind of an overview. I'm happy to open this up to questions. If anyone has any specific questions, if you want to call me, I'm more than happy to go through specific examples and details about how this works, but I wanted to keep it within the time frame as well for today.
Well, thank you, Justin. And just so you all know, Justin is one of our esteemed Powerhouse Smart Realtor members. So besides just looking him up on Google at Berkshire Hathaway, he's a North Shore agent. Also go to the website and just go ahead and reach out to Justin on the website. So the couple quick little summary things I just want to say, and we're at 12:01, is number one, this only works. It's not competition with a lot of our Powerhouse Smart members. It only works if the buyer or the seller really is going to sell it. They can't go back afterwards and say, I love it so much I don't want to sell anymore. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So Curbio will only partner with them if they are committed to selling the property. If they walk in, and my clients with this one actually did walk in and say, oh my God, we love our house. We wish we could move back in. And I said, I'm sorry, you guys decided you're going to sell. We did this to sell. But yeah, the bottom line is you have to be committed to selling the property to partner with them.
Great. And the other reason why this is different than other concierge type services is Justin and I were talking earlier about how in this particular case with using Curbio, he doesn't have project manager, as in many of the other concierge services. Unfortunately, they put more responsibility on the broker, which isn't really their area of number one, nor does it allow them to spend their time on their best use of their time. So
Right.
I love that. There's a bunch of other things that Justin and I walked through when we did our, preparing for today, but they're great questions and answers. If you want to reach out to him, he would be more than happy. It was really, really just so awesome of you, Justin, to take time out of your schedule to prepare for putting this together and then actually presenting it here today. We know that you understand the Powerhouse Smart way of helping others without expecting anything in return. And I am grateful for that. And we love having you in our organization and hope to see you at our next event as well. So we had a bunch of people join us. Just so you know, if you missed the beginning, we did record this. You could go ahead and watch the beginning. You'll probably want to. It's only, for some of you only missed a few minutes, and you definitely want to hear the beginning. This is an awesome, awesome program, something you definitely need to know about. And I'm happy that you're here. We have interior designers, architects, builders, cabinet companies on this call with Justin, and we'll send you a follow-up with a link to this. And we thank you all. We did start for 11:30. We are finishing on time, a little 12:03. Thank you, Gerard. And we hope to see all of you next week. We have, we're actually doing a happy hour in person if you want at Materials Marketing on Kinsey, which has an outdoor space. And then of course the following week we're doing a hard hat tour. So if you have a project you'd like to submit, reach out to me. We have some openings for that particular, it's a 20-minute presentation similar to what Justin did today. He used Matterport, he used slides and pictures. Should not be a hardship to prepare and share and help promote your company and your talents. So thank you all. Have a wonderful Friday. Thank you for your time. And we're grateful to have you in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. It was excellent. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.